If you're worried about looking older, know that you're not alone. A 2017 survey reported on in the New York Post found that 28% of women under 25, 42% of women aged 25 to 34, and 54% of women between the ages of 35 and 44 worried regularly about the physical signs of aging, like wrinkles, age spots, and sagging skin. Protocol PS4 review. There is something to be said about being ambitious, especially when it pertains to creative endeavors such as game development. Men, too, worry about getting older. While factors such as sun exposure, smoking, and the personal care products you use can have a big impact on the age you appear, diet is another important factor that can age you from the inside out. Without ambition, one can easily stagnate or rehash overly saturated formulas with no significant distinctive features. But being too ambitious may lead to an unfocused product with few redeeming qualities. According to a 2020 paper published in the journal Nutrients, skin aging is a complex biological process. Unfortunately, the latter case is the most accurate way to describe protocol. Protocol PS4 review. Following the rules in protocol, we step into the shoes of a recently divorced man who signed up for an important mission in an isolated secret facility. Our mission is to make the first contact with an alien species that has come to Earth and is affected by internal factors and external factors. The study continued. For diet, as the main way for the body to obtain energy and nutrients, people have gradually realized its importance to the skin. The researchers outlined a number of diet-related mechanisms by which skin ages, including inflammation and oxidative stress from free radicals. Yes, there are many foods and beverages that can make you look much older, many of which may surprise you. Milk may be making you look much older in addition to worsening acne. Milk may be prematurely aging your skin by causing inflammation. However, according to Dr. To do so, we must follow the protocol dictated by an accompanying AI. Frank Hu, a professor of epidemiology and nutrition at the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, researchers can't agree on whether or not milk and other dairy products are inflammatory. However, this AI seems to be designed to mess with our character and, by extension, the player. Any slight misstep or unprompted action that deviates from the protocol will lead to the AI pulling the plug on the mission and blowing up the secret facility after wishing us a nice day. This is very clearly established early on, even before we reach our new workplace, when the AI all but dares us to throw snowballs at its drone, which I naturally did and paid the price for. Throughout the game, we have many chances to defy the protocol. As the Arthritis Foundation highlighted, a 2015 study published in the Journal of Nutrition concluded that dairy products cause low-grade inflammation. But a 2017 meta-analysis of 52 studies published in critical reviews in Food Science and Nutrition found that dairy generally has anti-inflammatory effects, except in those allergic to milk. If milk does indeed cause inflammation, though, that inflammation will contribute to older-looking skin. In fact, we're incentivized to do so, as the game records every protocol breach and lets us know how many ways of defiance we missed in each chapter. Oh, that sounds like a fun romp, some of you might be thinking. According to a paper published in the journal Cell Transplantation in 2018, inflammation is a major factor that can speed up the aging process of our skin. And initially, I thought that as well. But as I delved more and more into the gameplay, I quickly realized how wrong that first impression was. The paper's authors used the term inflammaging to describe the negative effects of inflammation on skin and other body systems. Chronic inflammation triggers an overactive immune response that can cause long-term damage to the dermis, the second layer of skin, below the epidermis, and changes to the dermal extracellular matrix, the network of collagen that gives skin its structure and elasticity. Cornflakes are making you look much older. The glycemic index, GI, is a ranking of how quickly the carbs in a food can be converted into glucose. This allows you to distinguish between slow-burning healthy carbs that provide long-lasting energy and fast-burning unhealthy carbs that cause a spike in blood sugar and insulin levels. The protocol we must oblige to is quickly proven to be nothing but a bunch of menial tasks and glorified fetch quests. Go to A to retrieve an item. Go to B to use it. Go back to A to put the said item back where it was. Then, go to C for another item. Go back to B to use it, and so on.
Foods with a GI of 70 or higher are considered high glycemic foods. Those with a GI of 56 to 69 are considered in the middle, and those with a GI of 55 or less are considered low glycemic and the healthiest options. Many people know that white bread, GI of 75, and white rice, GI of 73, aren't the best choices for blood sugar control, but your breakfast cereal may be spiking your numbers more than you realize. Oh, trying to go where we're not supposed to, just to explore a bit? Have a nice day and boom. Cornflakes, in particular, have a GI of 81, making it a very high glycemic food. The bad news is that blood sugar spikes can make you appear older. Drop the required item? Have a nice and boom. A 2013 study published in the journal Age used photographs of participants' faces along with blood sugar readings to determine how glucose levels affected others' perception of the participants' age. Chose the wrong option or action? Have a nice day, boom. The researchers concluded that perceived age increased 0.40 years. You get it by now. Per 1 mmol, L increase in glucose level in non-diabetic subjects. Orange juice is making you look much older. If you're washing down your breakfast with a big glass of OJ at breakfast, you may be harming to your skin. Orange juice is surprisingly high in sugar. This soon becomes an annoying loop of receiving an order, slightly mishandling it, and being blown up, only to endure the same cutscene or lines of dialogue before starting all over again. Credit where credit is due. This premise is an appealing one and could have resulted in an interesting and fun experience, despite all the backtracking and repetitiveness of the tasks at hand. An 8-ounce glass contains 25.5 grams of carbohydrates, while an entire orange has just 15 grams. All that sugar is aging your skin in a variety of ways. According to physician André Nish at Unity Point Health, a high intake of sugar can lead to wrinkles, dark spots, sagging skin in the neck and chin area, and slower healing of cuts and scrapes, robbing your skin of its smooth, unblemished appearance. Sugar can also affect the arrangement of collagen fibers in the skin through a process called cross-linking, leading to a loss of elasticity. To explain the process, unfortunately, almost everything in Protocol's execution has gone wrong. What on earth is all of this? To start off with, Protocol consistently hops from one gameplay genre to another, from puzzle solving to shooting, to stealth-based corridor crawling and back to shooting again. This seems to be an attempt at artificially masking the boredom of our tasks by making us engage in a variety of barely functioning gameplay styles, with the first-person perspective being the only constant. By attempting to be a jack of all trades, Protocol becomes an experience mediocre at best, and utterly frustrating at worst. More often than not, handling items is downright infuriating due to poorly implemented collision detection and interaction distance systems. Puzzles can become unsolvable due to items getting stuck in walls or constantly jittering on the ground when dropped. The FPS sections can become frustrating due to an abundance of one-hit kill attacks that can easily blindsight you. The stealth sections present an inconsistent detection range, which quickly drained my patience, and the terrible cherry on top of this all is the fact that the game does a subpar job of telling us where the next objective is. Nish used the analogy of a banana. If you put a banana out on the counter and peel it, what happens in 24 to 48 hours? It gets brown. What's happening is the sugars in that banana are reacting with proteins, causing cross-linking and the brown color, browning reaction. He continued, saying, the exact same reaction is happening in our bodies. We're browning from the inside out. Grilled chicken is making you look much older even though it's a staple of many health-conscious diets. Grilled chicken may not be doing your skin any favors. All of this lead to a lot of time wasting or after going the wrong way and showcases a lack of respect for players' time. Protocol also includes sections that, if well executed, could have been taken as homages to some classic and well-regarded titles of gaming's past. That's because it contains advanced glycation end products, fittingly abbreviated as AGEs. AGEs form when foods are cooked at a high temperature, as in grilling. According to research published in the Journal of the American Dietetic Association in 2013, average age consumption is about 15,000 kilonits, daily. If you regularly consume significantly more than that per day, you're setting yourself up for signs of aging. Although chicken has fewer AGEs than beef when cooked the same way, it's still a heavy hitter. In these, we are required to use awkward controls to play dumbed-down versions of Asteroids, Brick Breaker or Space Invaders, taking away all the fun that could be had with these minigames. The only saving grace is the section where we are put in a Doom-inspired pixelated area to explore, shoot enemies, and face a couple of challenging bosses. It's the only truly fun part of the game, and the only time where I didn't feel the urge to close the game and go do literally anything else. After deep diving into the history of Protocol, It turns out it was designed as a VR experience for PC, before it made the jump to PS4. Those minigame instances, as well as the fact that we are constantly having to look down to pick up and wield our ID card, the most required item throughout the game, are clear evidence of that. It's possible that playing Protocol in VR renders the control scheme, which can't be changed or tweaked, by the way, less egregious, but its translation to playing with a controller is simply appalling. But where the game fails to live up to its potential the most is in its humor. A serving of steak grilled for only 4 minutes contains approximately 6,674 ku of ages, while a serving of chicken breast cooked the same way has 4,364 ku. According to a 2017 paper published in the Journal of Exercise Nutrition and Biochemistry, ages accelerate the aging process on a cellular level. The chance to engage players with quirky and humorous situations, like the snowball incident described earlier, is completely wasted. Besides never again being presented with a fun opportunity to oppose the AI, the writing in this game is frankly terrible. The back-and-forth bickering between our protagonist and the AI is borderline cringy and immature most of the times, occasionally delving into misogynistic remarks. We have to give a word of appreciation to the voice cast that actually did a pretty decent job, given the terrible script they had to work with. Ages are a biological waste product that build up throughout the body, including the skin, and cause a loss of protein function and impaired elasticity of tissues. The paper's authors concluded that preventing age formation and accumulation in tissues can lead to an increase in lifespan. Charred meat is making you look much older. You may have heard about a possible link between charred meat and cancer, but your overdone steak may also be bad for your skin. According to the National Institutes of Health, meat cooked at a high temperature contains heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs. The higher the temperature and the longer the meat is cooked, the more HCAs and PAHs form. But even with that, it doesn't help save Protocol. Light at the end of the tunnel despite the poor, at best, sense of humor and the terrible script where dialogue is concerned. There is a somewhat interesting narrative buried deep within Protocol. The plot eventually develops to a point where the intentions of the alien entity and the purpose of all the menial tasks we've been doing become clear. Once bioactivated by specific enzymes in the body, these substances can cause DNA damage that may increase cancer risk. HCAs and PAHs also age your skin because of their inflammatory nature. After this, you have the possibility to see multiple endings, depending on some choices of action or inaction and moral decisions put before you. This inflammation causes a breakdown of the collagen in your skin, leaving it less supple. Not all these endings are satisfying, but some of them neatly close out the narrative. One of these endings is so bad that it leads to an abrupt stop in the game and doesn't offer any details on the plot or secrets Protocol has to spill. To minimize your intake of HCAs and PAHs, remove any burnt bits before eating and clean off any stuck on char from the grill before using it again. Cooking at a lower temperature and avoiding very well done meat will also reduce your risk. Vegetable oils may be making you look much older. The polyunsaturated fats in vegetable oils may just lead to age-accelerating inflammation. It is the most unsatisfying and underwhelming end, but maybe also the most appropriate given the mess the overall of the experience is. Even if the awful controls and painstaking physics and detection systems don't turn off most players, the myriad of other problems just might do the trick. From subtitles that barely match the dialogue to necessary items falling onto the floor or getting stuck in walls, to a near game-breaking bug that almost stopped me from obtaining the best ending, Protocol is a technical mess from start to finish. The game regularly stutters, dipping below 30 frames per second a lot, freezing and crashing more than a handful of times. Visually, the game is inexplicably outdated, and would probably be frowned upon if this were an early PS3 title, let alone a game coming out in the transition period between PS4 and PS5. Textures lack detail. Character models are some of the most basic I have seen in years, and the lighting is all over the place, resulting in some instances where I had to look for a very small and specific item in a pitch-black room. While the American Heart Association considers polyunsaturated fats, PUFAs, to be among the healthiest choices, not everyone agrees. In a 2012 paper published in the Journal of Nutrition and Metabolism, researchers concluded that a high intake of omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids can lead to chronic inflammation in the body. In addition to contributing to many other serious health conditions, this inflammation ages the skin on a cellular level. As you may have guessed, vegetable oils are high in PUFAs. Wall textures would also stutter a lot and background textures wouldn't always load correctly. A poor title that tries far too much. It is a shame protocol ended up as it is. There was genuine potential here to deliver something appealing and unique, but I just felt like the developers didn't have the required confidence in either themselves or their potential audience to pull it off. With more time in the oven and if focused on a single set of fleshed-out mechanics, Protocol could have been something fun. But in trying to offer quantity over quality, I cannot even fathom this game being barely recommendable. Indie games are where we can find some of the most intriguing ideas and distinguished experiences. But Protocol is certainly not one of them. Protocol is available now on PS4 and is playable on PS5 via backwards compatibility. Review code kindly provided by publisher. 3 Protocol is an unfocused, directionless mess of a game that tries to give too much without grasping the basics. According to the 2015-2020 Dietary Guidelines for Americans, PUFAs make up the majority of soybean oil, corn oil, and cottonseed oil. For cooking, oils higher in monounsaturated fats, such as avocado, olive, and safflower oils, may be less inflammatory and have less of an aging effect on your skin. The gameplay is frustrating, the dialogue is terrible, and the number of technical problems renders it almost unbearable to play. High PUFA vegetable oils also show up frequently on the ingredient lists of packaged foods. The Soy Nutrition Institute, for instance, noted that 7% of daily calories in the American diet come from soybean oil alone. Microwave popcorn is making you look much older. You probably already know that trans fats are bad for your health. But did you realize they can also prematurely age your skin? According to a 2014 study published in Food and Chemical Toxicology, consuming trans fats may make your skin more susceptible to damage caused by UV radiation. There are a few positives here, but they are so few and far between that they don't even come close to being worth going through this experience. In addition to increasing the risk of skin cancer, this damage causes wrinkles and other signs of aging. Stay away from Protocol, and you will indeed have a nice day. It's important to note, however, that this study was conducted with rats, not humans. Because of their link to many chronic diseases, artificial trans fats have been banned by the Food and Drug Administration. There's a loophole, however. Products that contain less than 0.5 grams of trans fat per serving are considered free of trans fats, and thus can be sold. If you see partially hydrogenated vegetable oil on the ingredient list, there's at least trace amounts of trans fats in the product. According to Healthline, some brands of microwave popcorn still use trans fats, and because people tend to overindulge when eating popcorn and may consume many servings at one time, the trans fat can add up quickly. For a more skin-friendly alternative, stick to air-popped popcorn. Crackers are making you look much older. Crackers are a surprising source of trans fats. In fact, according to research published in the Journal of Food Science and Technology in 2011, 40% of trans fats in the diet come from cakes, cookies, crackers, bread, etc. In addition to possibly making skin more susceptible to UV damage, trans fats may impair blood flow to the skin. A 2009 study published in the journal Atherosclerosis concluded that trans fats inhibit cyclooxygenase, an enzyme required for the conversion of arachidonic acid to prostacyclin, necessary for the regulation of blood flow. Another study, published in the Journal of Cosmetic Science, noted that reduction in blood flow to facial skin can cause glyphic wrinkles, the deep grooves that appear on the cheeks. As such, you may want to carefully read the ingredients list and your favorite box of crackers to ensure there are no hidden trans fats. Or, alternatively, you can make your own crackers. It's quick, easy, and you can experiment with different herbs and spices.
Your daily coffee drink is making you look much older. Your morning macchiato may be aging your skin as much as the lack of sleep that made you need the coffee in the first place. As New York City dermatologist Deborah Wattenberg explained in an interview with Today that caffeine behave like a diuretic and prevent you from holding on to water, so your skin looks sort of prune-like. It can get dry and get washed out. What you add to your coffee can make matters worse. According to survey data published in the HuffPost, Americans drink 146 billion cups of coffee each year, and 72% of coffee drinkers add dairy or non-dairy creamer to their coffee. Half and half or cream may cause inflammation in those sensitive to dairy and, according to Healthline, some non-dairy creamers may contain skin-ravaging trans fats. And among the 30% of survey respondents who sweeten their coffee, those who use high GI sugar aren't doing their skin any favors. If you want to keep your skin from looking older, switching to decaf coffee may be ideal. Avoid loading it up with sugar and coffee creamer, and make decadent coffee drinks like frappuccinos and lattes a rare treat rather than a daily habit. Lemon water is making you look much older. Is there anything that screams health louder than a glass of lemon water first thing in the morning? Surprisingly, this trendy drink is a mixed bag when it comes to its effect and your appearance. Drinking lemon water can offer many benefits for your skin. It may fight inflammation, and the hydration it provides keeps skin looking young and vibrant. The vitamin C in the lemon can stimulate collagen growth, and the citric acid may help fade brown age spots. But what's good for your skin isn't necessarily good for your teeth. Dentist Luke Thorley explained to Cosmopolitan, citrus fruits like lemon and lime are very acidic and can erode teeth enamel. He noted that the eroded enamel makes it easier to see through to the layer of yellow dentin underneath the tooth surface, giving teeth a yellow appearance. According to WebMD, many factors can lead to yellowing teeth, but perhaps the most inevitable is the regular wear and tear that comes with, you guessed it, advancing age. This is why pearly white teeth are seen as a sign of youth. White wine is making you look much older. Drinking alcohol can make you look older in a variety of ways. It can dehydrate you, making skin appear dry and scaly and making wrinkles more prominent. It can also prevent absorption of important skin-boosting micronutrients like vitamin A. Excessive alcohol intake can cause liver damage, which in turn may lead to spider telangiectasia, red spiderweb-like lesions under the surface of the skin. Although white wine may seem like a relatively light choice for an adult beverage, your daily glass of Pinot Grigio or Chardonnay may be damaging your teeth and contributing to an older than you really are appearance. A study published in the journal Nutrition Research found that white wine caused a greater release of calcium from teeth than red wine, meaning it had more potential to erode tooth enamel, causing teeth to appear yellow and aged. It's important to note, however, that this study involved soaking teeth in alcohol for 24 hours, which isn't exactly how people enjoy their vino. Still, if you want to keep your skin and teeth looking young, stick to the 2015 to 2020 Dietary Guidelines for Americans recommendation of no more than 1 drink a day for women and 2 drinks a day for men. Deli meat is making you look much older. Dermatologist Justine Hextall explained to Harper's Bazaar that well-hydrated skin appears plump and reflects light better, giving it a glowing appearance, whereas dehydrated skin is less elastic and appears flat and dull. If you get dehydrated, your body is going to pull water from your tissues, from your skin to maintain the concentration in your blood, physician Richard Besser told ABC. When it does that, your eyes are going to look sunken, your skin is going to feel drier, it's not going to be as elastic, and so you will look a lot older. In addition to simply not drinking enough water, consuming too much salt can leave you dehydrated. The 2015 to 2020 Dietary Guidelines for Americans recommends no more than 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day, but the report also noted that the average American consumes roughly 3,400 milligrams daily. Unfortunately, cold cuts in your favorite deli sandwich are one of the biggest sources of excess sodium in your diet. According to research conducted by the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 5.1% of the salt Americans eat comes from cold cuts and cured meats. This makes them the second largest source of sodium, behind bread and rolls, 7.4%. Soup is making you look much older. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, 4.3% of American salt intake comes from soup.
And, as noted by Healthline, too much sodium can lead to water retention, which in turn causes puffiness in the face and body. According to the publication, the thin skin around your eyes is at higher risk of getting puffy. This leads to under-eye swelling or the appearance of under-eye bags. To help balance out water and electrolyte levels and reduce under-eye bags, choose foods high in potassium instead of sodium, such as bananas, potatoes, and yogurt. If you're concerned about looking older than your actual age, you should know that the eyes are usually the first body part to show signs of aging. Under-eye skin is very thin and delicate, making it more prone to damage that causes fine lines and sagging. This skin also lacks most of the underlying fat and muscle that give skin on other areas of the body more strength and durability. Hot sauce is making you look much older. Your taste buds may love spicy food, but your skin may not. In menopausal women, spices dilate blood vessels, causing skin to look blotchy and less youthful, according to Health. If you have rosacea, a common skin condition, you should know spicy foods can cause even more trouble. While the exact cause of rosacea is unknown, many factors can trigger a flare-up of symptoms, including sunlight, extreme temperatures, wind, stress, and spicy foods. When it comes to spicy food, hot sauce may be particularly problematic. A survey conducted by the National Rosacea Foundation found that 66% of the participants reacted negatively to hot sauce. Other foods that affected respondents included hot peppers, 61%, chili, 47%, salsa, 46%, and horseradish, 32%. Fortunately, the survey also found that more than 90% of participants were able to avoid spicy foods to help keep their rosacea under control. If you're one of the 14 million Americans living with rosacea and want to keep your skin looking clear and youthful, you may need to swap out your sriracha for pico de gallo.